So here we are at the Shoreline Hotel in Donabate, Ireland. This is the Irish Sea. We are in the environs of Dublin. Looks like a defensive position over there. This is the Shoreline Hotel, the outdoors. They got a couple of food trucks, got a restaurant as well. So this is the room.
All right, so I just got back from a 2-week trip to Europe. And this trip to Europe included stops in Dublin, Belfast, London, and then a 7.5 layover in Warsaw, Poland. And it included 13 nights in hotels. Those hotels included 3 nights in the Dublin area, a place called Donabate, which I showed you in the video. The Shoreline Hotel is where we stayed. Then we stayed at the Holiday Inn Belfast City Centre for 4 nights, then the Hyatt House London Heathrow Airport for 5 nights, and then on the way back we had an overnight layover in Newark, and I did that intentionally so I could spend a few hours in Warsaw. But anyway, we got that night at the Renaissance Newark Airport, and these hotels are basically going to come out to nothing for me in terms of cost. My flights, and there were 6 one-way flights for myself, my wife, my 2 kids, and my in-laws. And that was going over to Ireland. Once we were over there for a few days, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law got them tickets back somehow. But we actually got them tickets over. Those 6 one-way flights were basically $33.60, I think it was, because there were $5.60 in airport taxes. And then I paid for 4 one-way tickets from Dublin to London. And then finally I had flights back to the U.S. from London Heathrow via Warsaw to where we had left from in Cleveland. And those flights cost about $150 a piece. So that was about $600 for the flights that I paid for. And the hotels are basically going to be free except for a little bit that I paid for my in-laws. And this video is going to show you exactly how I was able to get the hotels and the flights for roughly $600 or so for a 2-week trip to the UK and Ireland. So if you're interested in that, be sure to stay tuned and I'll walk you through exactly what I did.
So this is the Giant's Causeway. It's kind of like a national park. They have octagonal basalt columns that come up out of the sea. Very beautiful out here. So this is St. Stephen's Green, Dublin, Ireland. And this is a free place to go walk around. I'm shocked that they have palm trees. When the sun's out, it's pretty nice, but the rest of the time, not so much.
Okay, so how did I get 6 tickets one way to Ireland, 4 tickets from Ireland to the UK, and then 4 tickets from the UK back to the US via Warsaw for about $600 a piece? Well, there was some strategy involved, and it requires using credit cards judiciously, getting sign-up bonuses that will work. The first thing I did was I got an American Airlines Advantage Platinum card from Citibank about 4 years ago. And it came with a 60,000 point bonus after spending $3,000 over a 3-month period. And I anticipated using that bonus for a future trip to the Caribbean or Europe or Mexico or who knows where. So those points accumulated into my account. and I had already accumulated some from previous sign-up bonus, which left me with about 170,000 points, I think it was. I used some of those on a trip to Jamaica for my wife and I for our 20th anniversary last year. Have a video review of the Hyatt Zilara in Montego Bay, Jamaica on the channel if you want to look that up. And it was a pretty cool trip. But anyway, that left me with about 120,000 points. Then my family started talking about taking this big trip, and my wife's family also taking this big trip to Ireland for, her parents and her siblings and so forth. So that caused me to last summer get an American Airlines Advantage from red MasterCard from Barclay. And that came with a 60 or 70,000 point bonus after spending basically $1 and paying a $99 annual fee. So I got that credit card and got the bonus, which got me up to a little over 180,000 points. And those 180,000 Advantage miles allowed me to get 6 one-way tickets, 30,000 each for $5.60. And then I used Chase Ultimate Rewards points out of my wife's account from various sign-up bonuses and everyday spending on things like Chase Sapphire Preferred card, as well as the Chase Unlimited or Chase Freedom Unlimited card. And those points add up over time, and she basically was able to then pay cash using these points at 1.25 cents a piece. We used about 50,000 of them, I think it was, or 45,000 of those Chase Ultimate Rewards points to pay for $160 tickets one way from from Dublin to the UK, and we landed in London Heathrow. So basically that was zero out of pocket cost for us for those. And then on the way back from London to the United States, I used some Chase Ultimate Rewards points from my account from spending and sign-up bonuses from the Chase Sapphire Preferred, Chase Freedom Unlimited, Chase Freedom Flex. Some of those videos reviewing those cards I have on this channel as well. You can look those up if you are interested in those. But anyway, I had to use 132,000. That was 33,000 points per person, and I transferred those over to United Airlines, and I look for tickets that are going to allow me to have a lengthy layover somewhere. Usually that works out better on the way over when you're a little bit more fresh. Everybody was kind of tired by the time we landed in Warsaw after a 2.5-hour flight from London. But then we had a 9-hour flight back from Warsaw to the United States in Newark. But anyway, those cost 33,000 points a piece times 4. So I think that was like 132,000 miles in United Airlines from Chase Ultimate Rewards, and about $150 because London Heathrow has some of the absolute highest airport taxes that you're going to have to pay anywhere. You can't really avoid that unless you pay the cash price or use your Ultimate Rewards to offset the cost. In which case you can actually earn miles as well. But anyway, that's the way that we were able to get the flights, and that helped us to offset the cost. Okay, so now I want to talk about how exactly I'm able to offset my hotel costs on this trip to Europe. And it involved credit card sign-up bonuses as well. Had to strategize how to maximize the dollars that I will be able to offset. So both myself and my wife were qualified to sign up for a Capital One Venture Rewards card, and that is currently coming with a 75,000 point bonus. These points, you can either transfer them to various loyalty programs that are tied to hotels and airlines at a one-for-one basis. On most of those, there are a few that don't have as advantageous transfer rules, or you can use those to offset or erase travel costs, and each point is worth a penny. So that 75,000 is going to turn into a $750 bonus if you decide to do it that way. And my wife was able to also get a $100 bonus, or 20,000 extra Capital One Venture points by referring me. Okay. So this is a strategy I talk about in another video where I talk about doubling your Chase bonus. You can double your Capital One bonus as well. I'm probably going to leave a link in the description. So if you want to get the Capital One Venture card and erase some of your travel purchases, you can click that link. I'll get 20,000 point bonus. If you have a spouse or significant other that you want to refer, you can also maximize your spending that way. So anyway, both of them come with $750 off. You have to spend $4,000 within 3 months, and I knew that we'd be able to do that with this trip coming on. And anyway, so those $4,000 will lead to 8,000 additional points minimum, because it's 2 points per dollar that you spend, or 2 cents back per dollar that you spend. So anyway, we're getting at least $830, and she's getting $1,030 at a minimum cutoff, right? So you also have to pay a $95 or $99 annual fee, which offsets the benefit, but still. So my portion of the hotel cost in Dublin basically wiped out. We did help out my in-laws a little bit with that, so I will have a little bit of out-of-pocket cost. But if it had just been my family, totally taken care of. My wife's spending will totally take care of, what we would have incurred in Dublin for hotels. So when I got to London, I booked a room at the Hyatt Place, London Heathrow Airport. It's outside of town, so I had to get a bus to the airport, Central Bus Station, and then I had to get the tube or the London Underground to get into town. It's about an hour and 15-minute one-way trip, but this had a very advantageous number of points as far as not having to spend a lot. And I transferred my Chase Ultimate Rewards points to Hyatt, and I got 2 rooms because they only allow 2 to 3 people in each room. So with my wife and my daughters with me, that basically meant that I had to get 2 rooms, and basically it was 5,000 to 6,500 points per night, and it varied by the night. So I got those effectively 10 nights, 2 rooms, 5 nights each, for 28,000 a piece, or 56,000 Ultimate Rewards points. Transfer that over, cost to me for staying at the Hyatt Place in London Heathrow, $0. So that was good. When we came back, we had an overnight in Newark. My wife had a free night certificate from Marriott, so we stayed at the Renaissance there. So our hotel cost is basically $0 for this whole trip. And so that's pretty great, if you ask me. So I do want to point out that even though I was able to get the airlines and the hotels for basically $600, that doesn't mean that the trip was without cost. So you still have ground transportation when you get to where you're going. You also have to have food while you're there, preferably sooner rather than later, so that you don't, pass out or something like that, which would not be good. So you have to have transportation, food, and any attractions that you want to do that cost money. You'll incur those costs. And this can vary as far as cost. If you want to take public transportation, you'll get off pretty easy. So while we were in Belfast, I did rent a car for about 3 days because we wanted to go out of town, and we had basically 12 people with us. So that cost a few $100s to rent the vehicle. It was a Mitsubishi Mirage, drove on the wrong side of the road, or the left side of the road, I guess. Not wrong, because it's all relative. It's right there, wrong in the United States. That was an adventure. Fortunately, I was able to get the car back in one piece with no damage. So I have that. We also took the tube and buses from various and sundry places to others. Took taxi in Dublin because the hotel was, about 20 kilometers outside of the city. I still saved money because the cost for hotels in Dublin in terms of points, if they were available, or the actual dollar amount, I was seeing things like $400, $500, $600 a night. So I didn't really want to go there. That's why I got the hotel I did. But food, you can stop at a Spar or a Tesco, or if you're in another country, I know Remy is popular in the Baltic. You have Lidl or Lidl, I don't know how you pronounce that, or Aldi is popular over there. You can go to a grocery store, get a loaf of bread, some lunch meat and cheese, and call it a day, and you have a meal. Or you can go to a restaurant, so that's variable. If you want to go hang out in parks like, the one I showed you, St. Stephen's Green in Dublin, you can hang out there for free. If you want to go to one of the national museums in either Ireland or the UK, those are free. We went to the Ulster Museum, paid nothing. We went to the British Museum, nothing. The British Science Museum in London, nothing. Those were free. Parks are free. We could go up to, Buckingham Palace or Kensington Palace, take pictures, look at the grounds and the gardens. That's free. If you want to take a tour, that'll cost you. If you want to go into some of the historic churches, we went to St. Patrick's Cathedral. We went to St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Those cost you money. We went into a church in Warsaw, totally free. I don't even know the name of the church because I couldn't read the Polish on the outside. But we did go to the Globe Theater and saw a play. So that cost us some money. We rode the London Eye. That cost us a lot more than it probably should have, 45 pounds a piece, I think. But we're over there and, kids wanted to do it. So we did it, since it's kind of a rare trip to go to Europe, especially in the wake of COVID. First time we'd been in Europe for several years. So anyway, there are costs, and I do want to point that out. But strategic sign-up bonuses with credit cards can offset a lot of the costs that you're going to incur on one of these trips. I do want to point out, credit cards can get you into trouble if you owe on them and don't pay it off every month, because, interest charges accrue over time and you can really get yourself into trouble. So unless you're able to pay off what you spend every month, don't get a credit card. It's better to try and save up for the trip, whether that's, $5,000 more or whatever. It's better than going into debt and paying hundreds or thousands of dollars in interest costs. But for those who are, really, really, sort of disciplined with their spending, it can be a great thing. Dave Ramsey said 90% of frequent flyer miles don't get used. If you use them, they can really offset things. I think it's better to, say $500 or pay a $99 annual fee to get a $500 flight. That's just a smart move as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, that's how we were able to do that. I want to point out that you need to have a strategy when signing up with the cards, though, because you need to get, if you're flying out of a city, you need to get a credit card with an airline that actually flies out of that city. So if you're living in a place, I used to live in Grand Forks, North Dakota, the only airline that flied out of Grand Forks was Delta. So getting Delta points is good. Unless you want to drive to Fargo or Minneapolis, getting a United card, probably not the best idea. So make sure that you're in an area where you can actually benefit from that, or think about where you want to go. Make a strategy there. If the airline that you're looking at does not fly into that particular airport, for example, Aruba or Jamaica or Mexico, then rethink what you're doing. Sometimes alliances can play out, but make sure that you are taking that into account, because that'll help you actually make sure that your points will go to what you want them to go to. I'll leave you now with some photos and captions from what we did. But anyway, until next time, be sure to subscribe and like the video if you found it useful. So thanks for watching.